talk now about what trans ideology. Been in the news an awful lot, has it not? But we've been talking about this on the show. I mean, since I started at 10 a.m. in March 2016. Yes, all that time ago. But yesterday we had the Culture Secretary, Lucy Fraser, who's also covering sport as part of her remit, calling on national sports chiefs to, well, stop men competing in women's sports. Everyone says female and male. No, it's really simple. No men in women's sports. We invented women's sports for a reason. It's because men have an unfair physical advantage. Doesn't matter what you do to them in their pre-puberty, post-puberty, they have a physical advantage, and it means that they're, let's face it, cheating when they compete against women. Well, let's talk about this right now to Fiona McInerney. She's Director of Sport at Fair Play for Women. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Julia. Actually, I'm at Sex Matters now.
You're at Sex Matters now. I do apologise. That you used to be at Fair Play for Women. I do apologise.
I was.
Got wrong information there on the list here. But I mean, again, two fantastic organisations doing wonderful work and really fighting on women's behalf on this. You've got a new survey, haven't you? Where showing that a majority of female athletes support categorising sporting competitions by biological sex rather than gender identity, i.e. how a man feels on any particular day when there's any contact or any endurance. It's the largest survey of, was 175 world-class elite and national level female athletes, and 58% said, that actually, the principle should be women should compete against women and men should compete against men. When did this even become controversial?
Yes, well, actually, this is an academic paper that's been published. So people are actually studying this. And as you say, there's a majority of women who want fairness for themselves. The interesting thing is that when they're asked about their own sport, those numbers go up to almost 80%.
Yeah.
So basically, everybody wants fairness for themselves, but they feel under pressure, one imagines, to say, well, we need to accommodate or other people can accommodate. And we know this, Julia, that whenever a sport has surveyed its own members, and a number of sports have done this now, they always get 80% plus who say the female category has to be for those born female. Yeah. There's no other way to keep it fair for women and girls.
Yeah,
and this is
absolutely. I mean, again, it's not complicated. And even whether people say, well, it's not a contact sport like rugby or, I don't know, boxing. But actually, endurance sports, whether it's running, whether it's cycling, or whether it's swimming, men have a huge advantage. They are on average, they are bigger. They are on average an awful lot stronger, broader shoulders, bigger hands, longer legs. The muscle, just the muscle percentage of their body is higher. Once you've got testosterone levels, and you can take as many hormones as you want, and when you decide you're going to live your life as a trans woman, you will still have a huge testosterone and physical advantage over women. We know all this. We don't really need any more studies of this. I mean, Sharon Davies, the wonderful Sharon Davies, has written, a whole book about this, and all this evidence is known. And it seems to me that no one ever really thought to ask the women athletes. I mean, we saw the women having to compete against, swimmer Leah Thomas. He was 400s in college swimming as a man, and then just basically grew his hair, changed his name. Suddenly he's winning by a mile, even though he's wandering around with his tackle out in the women's changing room, and not even, I mean, there wasn't even any proper pretense that he was in any way living as a woman. I mean, it's been making a mockery of women, hasn't it?
Well, you're exactly right that there was no real consultation of women. I mean, these policies were all adopted starting around about 2013 and rolled on all through for years. And as you know, Julia, it's taken an awful lot of work from women to try and even get it back on the table, to try and take back what was originally created for us. And now there's all this endless consultation as if it's controversial. Yeah. And that was never the case when these policies were adopted. So, I find it quite frustrating that these kind of academic studies or surveys are even being done, because I think we have to stop asking women and girls to solve the problem of what to do where these men with a transgender identity want to do sport. Yeah. Sports have to solve that, but women and girls don't have to solve it.
Yeah, women shouldn't be thrown under a bus for it. And it's not just at elite level, is it? This is happening in, college level. It is happening in, the park runs where the women's record, the women's race has been constantly won by men, let's call them what they are, men, and who would have no chance of winning the men's race. Average men beating exceptional women is cheating. I'm sorry, it's as simple as that. And it's happening in schools as well.
Yes, and it's very demoralizing in schools. It's desperate, and it is, as you say, at all levels. And why that matters is, how do any of us progress through the levels to get to be competitive or international or professional if you don't have school sport, college club sport all the way through? So it is devastating. And we hear all the time, and Sharon will have told you too, Davis, all the time from parents and from girls themselves about how demoralizing it is and how they even feel, at risk of being injured. Football is a huge problem because that is a contact sport. And I don't know why there is a belief that the feelings of these male players matter more than the feelings of the girls. But that seems to be the position.
And this real fear, again, lots of women and girls, they want people to think they're nice. No one wants to be called a bigot or a transphobe, and so they go along with it. And again, everyone says, maybe we can have a separate category, which is a trans category. Well, yes, that'll still be won by men. Either way, it'll just be average men winning it, not exceptional men. Fiona McNenna, formerly of Fair Play for Women, but now it's Sex Matters, two fantastic organisations fighting for women's rights and safety. So appreciate you joining us.